The Forest Detectives, America's Forgotten Spies of the Pacific. The year is 1943. Forget everything you think you know about World War II espionage. Forget the smoky Parisian cafes and the slick agents in trench coats. Imagine the deepest, most unforgiving jungles of the Pacific, a landscape where the enemy wasn't just the Japanese Imperial Army, but also disease, starvation, and the terrifying anonymity of a million-acre green hill. This is the stage for a true story of an elite, virtually unknown group of American soldiers and their indigenous allies, a story that proves the greatest intelligence triumphs often wear the camouflage of forgotten history. This is the tale of the Forest Detectives, the spectral operatives whose astonishing feats in the shadows ultimately saved countless American lives. Our story begins not in a bunker, but in the sweltering malarial air of New Guinea. The Allied forces were bogged down in a brutal, island-hopping campaign, facing an enemy entrenched in terrain that mocked traditional warfare. The jungle wasn't just cover, it was a fortress. U.S. commanders knew that conventional scouting was a death sentence, their white soldiers too loud, too visible, and too unfamiliar with the forest's lethal language. The solution came from an unlikely source, a handful of eccentric, visionary officers and the innate genius of the local New Guinean people, the Papuan and Melanesian tribes. They created a top-secret unit, codenamed Hellcat, a team of native scouts, guides, and porters recruited from villages deep in the highlands and coastal swamps. Their mission was simple in concept, near impossible in execution: to disappear into the enemy-held jungle and return with the truth. The American forces called their indigenous allies Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels for their dedication and incredible bravery in aiding wounded soldiers. But the men of Hellcat were no angels. They were a highly trained, silent intelligence service. The Unseen Network, a real-life coup d'etat. The core of the Hellcat advantage was not technology, but unparalleled ancient knowledge. These men could travel for days without leaving a trace, read an enemy patrol's passage by the snap of a twig or the displacement of a single leaf, and communicate critical intelligence using methods the Japanese and most Americans could never decipher. Astonishing historical fact for a U.S. audience: many of the Hellcat recruits utilized a pre-colonial system of jungle communication that involved intricate low-frequency drum rhythms and specific smoke signals that were only understandable within their tribal linguistic group. The messages could travel dozens of miles in hours, delivering tactical updates long before a crackling radio could. This communication network was faster and more secure than any electronic cipher used by either side in the early phases of the Pacific War. Their primary operational zone was the rugged terrain around the key Japanese base at Rapal and the strategic objectives in the Markham and Ramu valleys. The information they gathered was not simple troop counts. It was the microscopic reality of the Japanese war effort. They identified hidden supply dumps by the species of ants drawn to discarded rations. They marked underground fortifications by noting the subtle temperature shift in the forest floor. They even tracked high-ranking officers by the particular non-local brand of tobacco ash they discarded. The intelligence filtered back to Allied command through a perilous chain, from the scout to a trusted native intermediary to a select few specifically chosen American officers who spoke the local Tico Pisin or Pidgin English, a language most GIs dismissed as a crude dialect, but which served as the operational language of the jungle spy ring. The raid on Tokyo Express Road, a masterclass in deception. One of the most spectacular and rarely documented successes of the Hellcat unit centered on the construction of a crucial supply route they called the Tokyo Express Road on the Yunnan Peninsula. The road was a testament to Imperial Japanese engineering, designed to bypass Allied naval patrols and supply thousands of frontline troops with heavy artillery and food. Allied planes could not locate the road's termini through the triple canopy jungle. The U.S. strategy was to land troops blindly and fight for weeks to find it, but the Hellcat scouts had other plans. A detachment of just 5 scouts, led by a man named Gabu, whose real name was a closely guarded secret, was assigned the task. Gabu and his men located the road by tracking the sounds of the Japanese engineers' morning calisthenics, a surprising military tradition that became a critical intelligence leak. Surprising fact for a U.S. audience: Gabu's team did not transmit coordinates for an airstrike. Instead, they spent 3 days subtly altering the jungle landscape around a critical, unreinforced wooden bridge. They didn't sabotage the bridge directly. They strategically severed the roots of the 5 towering kapok trees flanking the bridge, leaving them precariously supported by a few yards of undergrowth. They then reported the bridge's exact coordinates, along with the seemingly innocuous detail: the big trees are sleeping. The American command, through their Tico-Pacin interpreters, understood the subtle code. A small, precision bombing run was ordered. The bombs did not hit the bridge, but the ground just behind the sleeping trees. The resultant earth shock, combined with the wind from the explosions, was just enough to topple the massive, destabilized kapok trees directly onto the bridge, collapsing it completely. The road was severed for months, and the Japanese garrison was starved of artillery and food, leading to a much swifter and less bloody American victory in the region. Gabu and his men were exfiltrated the following night, having witnessed the chaos from an unseen ridge. Their use of natural forest forces, an art form of jungle demolition, was an intelligence coup that cost the U.S. a single, low-yield bombing run and 0 casualties. The price of silence, post-war obscurity, and the secret medal. The American officers who worked with Hellcat were sworn to secrecy. The success of the network depended on 2 factors: the Japanese never knowing how their secrets were being leaked, and the American public never discovering the true extent of the danger, the near total inability of U.S. forces to operate effectively without indigenous help. The U.S. military needed the narrative of the unstoppable GI. After the war, the Hellcat unit was quietly disbanded. The Papuan and Melanian men who risked their lives to protect a distant democracy were often given little more than a handshake and a small, locally produced medal if they were recognized at all. Their records were filed under obscure, non-military designations. The American officers, having signed lengthy non-disclosure agreements, went home to a public that had never heard of Gabu or the silent war of the forest detectives. Yet a small, virtually unknown monument stands today in Papua New Guinea, dedicated to the unseen allies. It is a testament to the fact that the most effective spies in one of the world's most brutal conflicts were not highly paid double agents from Europe, but local men who knew how to speak the language of the jungle and turn its silent power against the enemy. The forest detectives did not wear medals. They wore the camouflage of the earth, and their untold story is a vital chapter in the history of World War II intelligence.